Hey guys, it's another video. I'm back. Hopefully you're back. Hello if you're new. Okay, so today's video is going to be on the 2018 film A Quiet Place. Now, it came out in the last 2 years, so I'm going to try and keep this video as spoiler free as possible. But don't worry, I'll warn you if there are spoilers. I've got you. I'm not here to ruin anyone's film experience. So if you haven't seen A Quiet Place, the Google description says, a family struggles for survival in a world where most humans have been killed by blind but noise-sensitive creatures. They are forced to communicate in sign language to keep the creatures at bay. Ooh. I've said this before, I'm restating it now. I am in no way, shape or form a horror film person, but I could deal with this one. So, you know, what I know so far is that I can't deal with it, but I can deal with A Quiet Place. That's my range. So, with this film, I like the vibes of it. I don't know how to quite explain it, but I feel like you'll think I'm stupid with what I'm about to say, but we carry on anyway. So, I can watch this film because I know, like, it's not real, and, like, my brain can't make it feel real to me, so I can, like, place it in the this is make-believe category of my brain, so it's not scary to me after the fact, if that makes sense. Like, it does have its moments of being scary, like, ooh, but it's scary in the moment, like, it doesn't stick with me after the fact, that other films have. For example, it was too much for me, like, so my first time watching this film, I was in the kitchen in my flat with my flatmates, and the experience included a lot of a colourful vocabulary and also a lot of walking around because I was stressed and tense and I needed to walk it off. My second time watching it was with my dad, and it was a very funny experience for me because I knew what was going to happen and he didn't, so I thoroughly enjoyed that. What I thought made this film just incredible is the way that they use sound in it. That sounds stupid because it's called A Quiet Place, but the way that it's exactly that, like, they essentially make it a silent film, but with, like, the only sounds really being, like, just generally existing, and the way that that's done creates such an atmosphere throughout the film, but it also creates, like, a precedent for the audience because you witness it, you see, like, sound equals a monster. So just the sounds of existing is, like, enough, because then once you hear, like, a big noise, everyone's like, oh no, like, oh, like, it just brings something else that I hadn't seen in a film before. When I watched the film for the first time, I literally flinched just at the sound of the river, because in the sheer sound of it, like, the amount of noise it made compared to the shot before, fully just shocked me, and I was like, oh no, because you get to the point where you genuinely do just associate noise with monsters, and they were safe because it's, like, natural noise, and they explain all of this. But to begin with, because it had been so quiet for so long, I literally was like, ooh. Just, that blows my mind that they've done the sound like that, and it's just so clever. And also, this film was actually nominated for like multiple best sound awards and best sound editing awards, from like the Oscars to the BAFTAs to the like other awards. They've all completely left my brain, but they definitely had an Oscar and a BAFTA nomination for their sound. And I think they lost out because people were like, they didn't really use a lot of sound in the film, how does that work? But I think that makes them deserve it more because they legitimately used the like less is more method, and it was just wicked. It was so effective. Like, oh, so smart, so well executed, just glorious. I thought as well that it was actually really clever for them to have already like deaf character, because like you then have that added. She can't tell if she's making noise or if there's noise nearby or if there's a monster nearby, so that's just a whole other layer of like stress and just tenseness and anxiety. It just brings another dynamic, not only to like the audience watching, but also to like the characters as well within the film. And it's just, so much well executed like tension, and like you just, ooh. It did break my heart in the film that like she blamed herself for her littlest brother's death because she couldn't hear that he'd made any noise and so couldn't react to save him quick enough. Like, that was so heartbreaking, but the way that they played on that added so much tension. Like, that subplot just gave the film that little bit more ground for you to connect with the family and therefore make it even more of a stressful, tense situation for you. Okay, I do have one very big question I need to ask, okay? Why the hell were they having a baby? I'm sorry, but the last thing on my mind, if I was in a apocalyptic world with monsters about, is to bring a baby into that. And just generally, the whole, no. I mean, it brings some good scenes with it, like stressful, tense, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen scenes, but why? I can't fathom it. I did like that the whole film wasn't just the communication was done through sign language. I enjoyed that they did use verbal communication, but it was like very little, and when it was used, it was like, this is key to the moment. Like, they genuinely do play on the less is more with this film. It just added that extra layer of, like, not helplessness, but it just sort of made it more like, oh, like, imagine not being able to talk, and like, just the way that, like, I also enjoyed that you knew that they were safe if they were talking. It's just, yeah, necessary verbal communication. Like, it just hit the spot. In saying that as well, I did enjoy that they used sign language to communicate, because that's something that, like, I haven't really seen in films before, so I thought it was quite a cool, like, oh look, we're not ableist. So the scene where the mum, Evelyn, I think it's Evelyn, stood on the nail on the stairs and then was also had to give birth. Oh my gosh, it's honestly one of the worst things I've ever had to watch. It was so well done, and honestly, like, from a horror film perspective, arguably ticked so many boxes. Like, you've got the threat of life, you've got the blood, you've got the all of this, you've got the creepy, like, of the monster, like, just everything. But as a human being, oh my lord, I wanted to scream for her. It was just, oh my gosh. Ooh. The timing of the firework as well, so that she could scream while she gave birth, was honestly phenomenal. Stunning. The way that they use so many of the different like random objects to help them, oh my gosh. I love it. I just, throughout the film there's so many moments where I'm like, oh, the creativity. Like, it's just things you don't see in other films. Like, the apocalypse clearly just gives that little bit of oomph to a film. The directing of this film is so well done. There are so many shots where, like, so much is being told just by the, like, body language and facial expressions of the people on the screen. And the lighting of a lot of the shots is just phenomenal. With this film, I do really enjoy a lot of the, like, more technical aspects of it, because they've just done it so well. They've gone in there, guns are blazing, and it's come out amazing. Like, the efforts were worth it, you know? This is another film that is, like, threaded with little details that you don't necessarily pick up on, and I really enjoyed them. For example, like the newspapers that they've got about, and you can, like, sort of pick up pieces of what's happened and, like, how the world's reacting, and it's just such a, like, it's just one of those things that just makes me feel good inside. And I also did enjoy the, like, the blank screen that was like day 89, like, because you sort of get that moment of, you know, what's actually going on now, like, you're sort of a bit more in the know. And I like as well that I think they're linking that back to the sequel. It's not out yet, but in the trailer it shows, like, day 0. I like that that's, like, a constant theme, so it, like, tells you where you're at in the time frame. There's, like, so much information just from these little details to, like, pick up on, but at the same time, like, you never at any point are just as in the know as the family. Like, they also have no idea what's going on, and you sort of have no idea until the very end. The way that Regan, the daughter, figures out that high-pitched frequencies knock those suckers out at the end, oh my gosh. Like, the audience have clocked it a bit sooner because they have that same thing where she can't see what's going on because she can't hear that it's behind her. So we've been in the know for a while, so I think that adds the extra bit of tense where you're like, turn your hearing aid on. But then, that ending is so badass. Like, the and then the yes, women doing it for themselves. What wasn't badass or cool was Lee dying. That hurt. I did cry, not in a cool way at that. You know, I was so mad the first time I watched it, actually, because I ruined it for myself. Because I had low-key worked out that he was gonna die, because the first time I watched it was around the time that the second one was meant to come out, so all of the posters were up and about in the cinema, and I had clocked that there was no man in that poster. And then just the vibes I got from Lee as a character, I was like, oh, he's gonna die. And then he did, and it was very upsetting, but also, you know, very necessary. I can see why they've done that, you know, I'll allow it. This film really does play on the less is more, because the audience build it up for themselves anyway and make themselves, like, more tense with what could happen. And the fact that it's used to the full potential, like the audience's own minds, along with the sound editing and the appearing, like, the monsters that just appear and the, like, creeping around, and the sudden, like, the man appearing in the background, and, like, all of these moments are just made in such a way that at no point you're like, oh, I'm bored now. Like, it's just the right amount and the right, like, spacing out of it. all of the individual moments of crisis as well added onto it just creates just such a perfect storm for the whole storyline. This genuinely is the type of horror film that I can get behind, because it doesn't feel like a horror film to me, but it's just beautiful. So that's been my thoughts, feelings, vibes, everything to do with the 2018 film A Quiet Place. Now, onto the ratings. Okay, A Quiet Place gets We Out Here Vibing, because in my opinion, it is a fantastic film. I mean, other people might not agree in terms of like the scale of horror films. They might be like, no, this is rubbish. But that's just a bonus for me, because it means I can enjoy it. It's just such a clever film, and it's so well made, and it makes you tense the right amounts, and like there's never a moment, like there's never a dull moment really. And yeah, I can get behind it. We Out Here Vibing. The extras it gets from me is just wow, and I don't think I need to further explain that, because I've just spent however long rattling on about how amazing this film is to me, so it is just wow. And you know, it's my opinion. But also a wow just for the baby, because why did you do that? I'll never know, I'll never understand, but you know, it adds. I'm also going for I Feel Attacked, because I will not get over the immediate murder of that small 4-year-old. And then how they made me fall in love with the character and everything, just to rip them apart and kill Lee. Like, I can't forgive you for that. I feel attacked. I cry every time. Every time. Even though I know it's gonna happen. It's tears. And then just because I'm giving a new one as well as my final additional one. And it's called It Scared Me But Not Enough That I Can't Sleep. In other words, the perfect type of horror film for me. Yeah, it gave me jumps, it gave me frights and tears, but afterwards I did sleep like I was on a cloud. So that's a bonus from me. If you've seen A Quiet Place, let me know. Did it scare you? What was the worst moment for you? Do you also question why they had a baby in this time? Because I do. Are you hyped for the sequel? Because I definitely am. Let me know down below. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye. My neighbour has decided he's going to construct something at all hours of the day with no warning and no information of when he's going to stop. So I apologise in advance for that. Oh, batteries. Cool, I lose my cool points, okay?